This week, We'll Get Serious is brought to you by Barbershop Window. For your selection of independent t-shirts, Barbershop Window. Also by Brock Lesnar, because apparently in the contract with the WWE, all podcasts and smarkiness requires one joke about Brock Lesnar and his terrible, terrible promos. Terrible promos. Omega, I would like to make a show bylaw.
Okay.
I would like to have it be that if we ever have a long or rambling promo or something like that, that we tell them to stop Brock Lesnaring and get on with the point.
I think we can swing that.
All right. Well, glad to know Omega the Robot is joining us this week. And if I could be serious for a moment, this is We'll Get Serious number 36. My name is Gunnar, and that is Omega BR.
Yes, hello.
We are joined by our wonderful sound producer, Yankum DDS.
Hello, Cleveland!
The only sign of Cleveland we have in this podcast is the steamer that's on your chest. And this week we also have a couple guests. The wonderful Vassar has returned.
Hello.
And all the way from Britland, setting an example for all you British folk, Buffer Taker is here.
Oi, oi.
And so let's get started with the news. This week, former WCW wrestler Marcus Buff Bagwell, 42 years old, was injured in a serious car accident on Tuesday, according to the Twitter account of Atlanta, Georgia-based independent promotion Universal Championship Wrestling. UCW adds that Bagwell was admitted to an intensive care unit. According to a source, Buff has been in rough shape in recent months and had been detoxing at the time of the accident. Numerous friends of Buff have been worried about his condition for quite some time now. One source notes that Buff has been doing things to score pills, injuring himself on purpose. One source says that he wouldn't be shocked if he did did do this to get more pills. I mean, when the idea was brought up that it would be pretty crazy for him to do something like this, the person responded, "You've never met him then." It should be noted that Buff no-showed an indie event several weeks ago, blaming it on a car accident. He was replaced by Raven in that event. We're told that Buff went through with a windshield during the wreck this morning. He's currently in ICU with multiple face lacerations. He will be fine, according to the Twitter account of Scott Norton, and this is kind of interesting. So, Buff Bagwell pulling a Scott Hall here. Thoughts?
I'm not gonna lie and say I care about Buff Bagwell or anything that he really does. By all accounts, the guy's just kind of a jerk. He didn't really. His character was okay, but these guys who, I don't wish harm on him or anything, but I don't really have much to say about it.
What, you didn't enjoy American Males? How could you not enjoy American Males?
Well, that was 15 years ago.
It was the most dynamic tag team since the Dynamic Dudes, and it has the best theme song.
American Males.
American Males, American Males, American Males, American Males. Come on! Pure classic genius.
Speaking of American Males, apparently WWE sources confirmed to PW Insider today that Beth Phoenix's injury last night on Raw, in which she appeared to basically sprain her ankle, was in fact not an actual injury, believe it or not. Apparently, it was all part of the angle to help explain the title change. Of course, Beth was rolled up by Nikki Bella, Nikki becoming the new Divas Champion, despite the fact that the Bellas are allegedly on the way out. I tell you that if that wasn't a real injury, which apparently it's not, it was probably one of the best sell jobs I've seen in recent memory.
I really thought that Beth had screwed something up. When they came out for the match, I was like, oh, look at this. I had recently read that if Beth had held the titles until May 1st, she would be the longest reigning Divas champion ever. beating Maurice out for that time slot, and for that time, for that little mantelpiece. But at the same time, it's I gotta put this. I'm all overboard today.
Well, apparently
at the same time, I thought, the Bellas are coming out. Oh, okay, the Bellas are going to get squashed. And then when it turned around, it was the opposite, exactly what I thought. I was kind of weirded out.
Well, apparently this is all kind of leading toward Karma returning, and it was actually almost about a year ago that Karma left due to her pregnancy and everything. And obviously, you remember it was the Bellas who kind of gave her harsh words on the way out. So that, assuming that's what it is, it makes sense, But
speaking of harsh haircuts, WWE had Edge in Detroit, Michigan last night for contract negotiations. His appearance on Raw in the segment with John Cena was scripted into the show at the last minute. Also, as noted before, WWE officials were upset when the news of Edge's contract expiring hit the internet. When the news came out, they sent John Laurinaitis scrambling to bring Edge into Raw face-to-face for face-to-face contract negotiations. Apparently, apparently this is how it works with non-Legends deals that are still people that are very important to the WWE. Shawn Michaels makes $300K sitting at home on his ranch. Mick Foley makes a little less than that. And then Edge apparently got lowballed so bad that he didn't want to sign again. So WWE tightening those purse strings.
Well, it's kind of an awkward situation because here Edge, obviously they thought Edge would have still been wrestling by this time. They induct him into the Hall of Fame, and they don't, from what I heard, they didn't want to give him, they didn't want to give him a Legends contract, which is basically just sort of an affirmation that they can use your likeness and all that jazz, and rather they wanted him to sign a standard talent contract, so he couldn't necessarily just go do whatever he wanted. But at the same time, if you sign a talent contract and, he's not wrestling, so they're not, and they don't really seem to have any plans to bring him in as, any kind of manager, general manager, anything like that. So I see where they're coming from with the number, but at the same time, you can't, you're basically putting the screws to him on all counts. And obviously, he's got other things he's probably got other things he'd like, not necessarily TNA or anything, but like there was the young girl who he gave his wrestling scholarship to that he could maybe help mentor some more things of that nature. All right, well, apparently, there's all kinds of rumors going around that WWE is discouraging the yes chants and telling people not to chant it, not to bring signs and all that, despite the fact that they put on a T-shirt and have renamed a finisher. The latest bit is that they're attempting to turn yesing into the next phenomenon, I guess, similar to Tebowing, because they're asking fans to take photos of themselves doing the yes pose, like Daniel Bryan, and tweet them to WWE using hashtag yesing. And WWE will share the photos on their website and all that good stuff. So, not a bad idea considering all the social media stuff that they tend to want to do and like to do, and unlike a lot of the things they do, this is something the fans have actually responded to pretty positively. I mean, granted it's just a very, very simple chant, and for a heel no less, but people take to that kind of thing pretty well.
It's not surprising that WWE would try to capitalize on this. I saw a few pictures today, and it was kind of interesting to see, who would be doing this, why would they be doing this. Personally, in my real life, yesing is something that I kind of do in my head, where I'm like, yes, 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 I'm done with work, yes, 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 I'm eating great food, yes, 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 this, that, the next thing. But that's because I'm a fucking nerd, and, 2 out of 10 wouldn't push, brother. It'll explode, it'll be fine, but it won't take off much doing that. Speaking about Twitter, Following it was posted on Wade Barrett's Twitter account on Monday afternoon. Now, if you remember, Wade Barrett on the 1st said, I am done with Twitter for now. See you in a few months after his dislocated elbow. Timeline-wise, he's expected back in July, and for those of you who know, he dislocated it on the Raw a couple WrestleManias ago, or a couple Raws before WrestleMania. Well, on Monday afternoon, this was tweeted. Due to a number of factors, Mr. Barrett has signed the administration of this account over to his attorney for the foreseeable future. Mr. Barrett will be making no further comment at this stage. Regards, Peter Lazaro, Esquire. So we're giving Barrett a lawyer manager, and or at least that's what the idea is here. What do you guys think of that?
I don't know. I mean, there are so many things lately, especially that you can't tell what it's supposed to be. I mean, I don't think it's anything serious or anything. Worst case scenario, Barrett's just tired of Twitter. I mean, I have a Twitter and I don't even go on it or anything. I don't tweet often at all. Once every couple of months. Although I will say, if he were to have some kind of lawyer as an on-screen associate, it would kind of make sense because, he's kind of been jerked around a little bit with the way, what the Nexus and then the core and the fact that he's tried to kind of reach that upper status, and he's kind of been held back by whoever you want to say, Teddy Long or whoever.
We have a Twitter too, Snark. You can follow us there.
Yeah, Gunnar and I tweet during Raw. It's quite amusing.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not much into Twitter because I feel like if I was a celebrity or more of a pivotal figure, I might have something more to tweet about, but not just yet. I'll tweet about what a Lesnar Gunner's been tonight.
Omega, I ride the fence like it's a horse. BR.
Speaking of things that only come once a few months, every so often, every few months. Back in March, TMZ posted a story about a sex tape featuring none other than Hulk Hogan, and this week, TheDirty.com posted several grainy photos from the tape that clearly show Mr. Hogan with an unidentified woman, who he claims is not his ex-wife Linda or current wife Jennifer McDaniel. Apparently, the woman in the tape is none other than Bubba the Love Sponge's ex-wife Heather Clem. No confirmation on that, but apparently Bubba, being the classy guy that he is, recently said on his radio program that he was still married to Heather and he would offer her to his close personal friends from time to time. Of course, Hulk and Bubba have been good friends for many years, and the Ultimate Warrior used to make similar claims about Linda Hogan herself, saying that Hulk would shop her around to some of his good friends. So it's nice to see that even in old age, all these wrestlers can still get together and indulge in debauchery.
So Hulk Hogan's bleach-injected ass is ready, Brother Jack Dude, to have this tape released. Will you watch it? Yes or no?
My question is, would anybody actually... Well, that's a question, but would anybody actually buy it? Because I can understand China, because, she's... I mean, well, she is a woman, first of all, and second of all, there's kind of that, no offense to her, but that freak show aspect, you kind of want to see. And it's with Hogan, too, because any celebrity, you kind of want to see him in that element. It's a curiosity, but again, we're talking about Hulk Hogan, grainy, gray film, and I can't imagine that, Heather Clem is probably not the most attractive gal in the world. So.
All right.
So
well,
I
speaking
guess
of things that aren't,
if I can download it for free, then yeah, maybe once. Maybe I'll skip through it.
What's that?
Ugh. Well, speaking of things that people fap about, the Motion Picture Association of America, the biggest heels in America currently, announced that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been named and accepted the award of Action Star of the Decade at a Hollywood Industry CinemaCon event in Las Vegas on Monday night. The Rock retweeted the following from the MPAA: "Congrats, The Rock, for being named Action Star of the Decade. Hashtag CinemaCon, hashtag People's Elbow."
You mean it wasn't Hulk Hogan for his role in Thunder in Paradise and Zombie Hamlet?
Whoa, wait. Stop. Did you just say Zombie Hamlet?
Yeah, I just googled Hulk Hogan's filmography to pick up a few references there, and apparently there's some movie in post-production called Zombie Hamlet that's coming out this year that he has some kind of cameo or something in.
I can't even wrap my head. Zombie Hamlet.
Yep.
I know there was that movie he was doing with that kid who's only like 13, but he's been bodybuilding since he was like 3, and he's got like this freakish, his muscles are defined. I don't know. What were we talking about?
Something about the MPAA.
The Rock is Action Star of the Decade, which kind of sounds weird, but then again, think about all the action stars there've been in the past decade. The only other one I can think of off the top of my head is like Jason Statham.
Which I'm surprised he didn't win.
No, there's the... Oh, wait, no.
Exactly.
What about that old English guy? You know the one, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you've done with my daughter, but I will find you, and I will kill you. That guy.
Liam Neeson.
Yes, Liam Neeson. He was in those movies, and he did that other movie where he was like some kind of god or something.
Liam Neeson's not much of an action star. He everything that happened in that movie kind of fell right into his lap, because like he went to the airport and he all of a sudden found the guy who like was the guy's goon, and for some reason he knew he was the guy's goon.
See what you do, Omega. You just ran us completely off topic, and now.
Well, let's jump into something else, shall we? How about the fact that Derek Bateman has been removed from WWE.com and FCW's website, which usually indicates a talent has been released. Bateman was asked about it over Twitter, saying missing profiles were meaningless. People read into things way too much, yada, yada, yada. He posted kind of a fake profile on notebook paper that was kind of funny. And I think I even heard that they might be back up as of this recording, because it might have just been a glitch in the system across the wire. But it is kind of weird to think, if that were the case, that on both websites it would be gone.
They could share a database.
He has been pretty prevalent on NXT. I don't really watch NXT anymore, but I do know he's on it.
Chicks in America. And I would be completely disappointed if Derek Bateman was released.
Of course, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil, the newest tag team up in SmackDown, so that's great. But yeah, Bateman showed a lot of potential. He's a pretty funny guy.
Speaking of funny guys, real funny, Sean Hayes, who plays Larry in The Three Stooges, appeared on Conan this week, where he said he was embarrassed to be on the program. He added he would never attend a WWE event, and then CM Punk posted on Twitter in response. Punk wrote, "Holy crap, so the douche who's playing Larry in the Stooges movie says he was embarrassed to be on Raw, but he's in the Stooges movie." He was also the gay guy from
Will and Grace.
Dharma and Greg or something. Will and Grace, whatever. Yeah, same difference.
Well, from what I heard, this was a little bit blown out of proportion. I think he just said that he was kind of... I don't know if he necessarily said he was embarrassed to be there at the wrestling show, but he was embarrassed to kind of...
Don't defend him. Don't defend him. He's an asshole. Fuck him. He was the worst Larry ever. He was the worst friggin' gay guy on Will and Grace ever. And that's saying something.
Hey, I'm just thinking that he was embarrassed to have to do all those bits on live television.
That could be it too, because all of those bits were terrible, and it
Well, see,
wasn't
I
because of
disagree with that.
Santino.
Like, honestly, I thought they were going to be pretty bad. But despite who may be playing them and the surroundings and everything, the Stooges act has always been kind of, for some reason, just kind of naturally funny. It's that kind of slapstick. It's like how you can watch Tom and Jerry, and like it's still, you might not laugh out loud, but it's still humorous. So I thought it was, and plus they had Santino in the mix, and he usually compliments anybody pretty well with his shtick. So I thought it was better than it was going to be, and it, not a waste of time.
Well, Dick Van Dyke says that the Stooges aren't funny, and I'm inclined to agree with the comedy God.
Well, didn't Dick Van Dyke, he would trip over a footstool?
Yes, it was hilarious.
Yeah, so he's just upset they're doing his act.
We probably ought to move along.
Well, apparently, Saturday morning, TNA star, how's this for news? TNA star Christy Hemme wrote on Twitter on Saturday that she woke up to burglars in her house, and she chased them out herself because her husband wasn't there, but the police just took a report, and she's fine, and apparently they weren't, apparently it wasn't super serious because she was able to, no disrespect to her, but she was able to get them out of there and chase them off and everything. It's not like they had a strong intent to, commit any heinous acts. Probably just some drug enthusiasts, perhaps confused or looking for material to supplement their habit, or
Well, if they were going to find any gimmick, all they'd find would be silicone.
I like Christy. I still think that's one of the not, earth-shattering, but one of the big mistakes that WWE made in the past 10 years was getting rid of her so nonchalantly the way they did, because she had a lot more personality, and, granted she came up through the Diva Search, but she had a lot more personality and enthusiasm than a lot of the girls you see.
Yeah, and her and Maria being one of the two.
Yeah. So unfortunately, she's retired because she suffered an injury and was fearful of that again. But well, I guess she's doing okay, because that's actually a point of contention with a lot of the knockouts. The fact that Christy gets paid a lot more than a lot of them do, and it's mostly because she's a WWE original.
And was in Playboy at one point or another. I mean, speaking of people that should be in Playboy, SoCal Val recently spoke with another radio program about dealing with an immune system deficiency for most of her life. And more. She was homeschooled from the 4th grade on because she has a really bad immune system. A lot of people don't know that. It's really easy for me to get sick. I lose my voice quite a bit. I'm pretty much always not feeling 100%. It's very rare to me to say, wow, nothing's wrong. There was some kind of something going on with me. She added I had mono for several weeks when I was 5 years old, and it really weakened my immune system. Now it's pretty much called Epstein-Barr and or chronic fatigue syndrome. My immune system is really bad. It's not like I'm the boy in the bowler, like some people like to joke, but if somebody has a cold, I'm going to get it. Being a kid in school, I'd get scarlet fever and strep throat several times. SoCal Val, not the chick you want to take on the trail with you to Oregon Trail.
Yeah, she's another one who's she very briefly had storylines with, excuse me, Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt and that whole thing, and other than that, she's pretty much just been relegated to Ring Girl again for a couple of years.
Well, she and Jeremy can go do the spin cycle and whatever the hell TNA wants her to do. It still sucks though, because I mean, having this chronic fatigue syndrome, I'm familiar with someone who has it, and apparently you're in pain all the time, like literally every day and every second. And
well, sitting beside to every TNA event isn't going to help that.
I would imagine it would just be
TNA event would be painful, I would think.
Right, it's theory. You just numb yourself from everything.
Yeah, I guess she kind of thinks, she kind of looks at everybody in the ring, and then she's kind of like, well, this sucks, but, there are people worse off than me. Ayo. In a case of deja vu, the CWE promotion in Canada announced that Sid Vicious missed his flight to their show. Apparently, Sid told them he was, quote, sore from setting up bleachers last night. The night before, that is. They offered refunds at the door, but they did bring in Jimmy Jacobs as a last-minute replacement, similar to what happened in the PWS promotion in New Jersey, in which the booker really got upset with Sid, cut a promo on him in the ring, called him so all the fans could hear them, so he could hear all the fans booing him, and then gave away Sid's phone number on Facebook, I believe. So Sid Vicious, not a very good track record with showing up at events.
Sid Vicious, viciously dodging everything. If you can dodge a plane, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, there was some talk, and that's all it really is talk, but talk a while back that Sid might come back to WWE. Sid's another one of those guys, kind of like Savage, who just he was such a big part of the company, and then he just kind of fell off the map. And I know he was big in WCW, kind of during the later year, the height, and then the rise and fall, so to speak. But here's a guy who could probably come back and maybe,
put somebody over.
Yeah, or Hall of Fame spot, legend spot, perhaps. He's still. I mean, obviously his body's not in super condition, but he can still move and everything. So I don't know.
Speaking of things that are crazy, it's our last little news bit for the show. The former ECW arena has been stripped down to its outside walls. All the old stages, balconies, all that stuff has been destroyed and taken out. Construction for the building's new configuration is underway, and when complete, the building will be turned into a concert hall that will hold close to 3,000 fans. As for future wrestling in the building, the feeling was when Evolve and CZW ran their last event there that the rent of the redesigned facility would be too high for independent promotions to run the building and actually make a profit. Now, as you remember, there was a debate in where if wrestling was going to actually be there or if it was welcome there. Really, it's going to depend on, how much they're going to charge, or if they're going to be able to cut a deal, or if we're going to see special shows here as opposed to, this being an everyday show venue. I really hope that they don't just stop wrestling at the former ECW arena, but I could very well see that happening.
I wonder if they auctioned off pieces of that arena. If they didn't, they should have.
Probably not. I think all the wrestling related material, the really real wrestling related, like the banners and all that stuff, they still have those somewhere.
Well, tell me you don't know at least one person, either in real life or over the internet, who isn't nerdy enough to go, yeah, I'd bid $50 on eBay for a seat for the ECW arena.
Probably, but it's not really up to them. It's the kind of deal where it might not be worth it to them to, even if they were to get money, and the time and effort it would take and to do that. And I mean, the thing is, the people who run it, own it, whatever, they really don't have that interest. They're really, I mean, they started tearing it down as soon as the last show was over. They started clearing it out, tearing it out. That's what they want to do with it. It really isn't, as historic it is for wrestling, that's just not in their best interest. And it happens, it happens to even giant arenas. I mean, even the Pontiac Silverdome sold for what? Only a few tens of thousands or something. But it's, hopefully it's, the one bright spot I can say is that Chikara is running a show at the Troc Theater, which is owned by the same person or people or whatever. So maybe when the venue is complete, maybe they can work up a relationship, find some kind of compromise or arrangement or whatever.
All right, well, with that's the news for this week, and we're going to transition right into our 15-minute time limit. This week, we're going to get into Extreme Rules pay-per-view predictions because, well, Extreme Rules is on Sunday, and it's looking to be equally, if not more so, interesting than WrestleMania. Go figure, right? Alright, so, we're going to bring in Vassar and Buffer Taker, and apparently somebody else is lurking in the back there who's a very, very funny guy from the internet. We're going to talk about the pay-per-view. Now, at 7:30 on Sunday on YouTube, there will be a pre-show match with Santino Marella going up against The Miz for the United States Championship. So Miz, you might have won the match for Team Johnny, but you're jerking the curtain there, bro. How's that working out for you?
That's not even jerking the curtain. That's before the curtain's even jerked. And it sucks, because I like Miz. And I think he deserves better than just a pre-show match.
I'm not really sure what to think on this match. I just hope Miz doesn't win, because I do not want United States Champion Miz running around again. I still think it's also nice that the WWE has been doing these pre-shows now that they do on YouTube instead of dark matches that nobody sees.
Apparently, this is the most profitable. WWE is one of the more profitable entities to work with YouTube.
That's not surprising at all.
All right, so what do you guys think of this match? Who's going to win? Pinfall, submission, whatever, and if there's going to be interference or not.
Which match are we talking about?
Santino and Miz.
Well, that's kind of hard to say because Santino's kind of got a groove going on with the title, but Miz isn't really doing anything at the moment. And he was pretty strong as U.S. champion back in the day. I'm going to go ahead and say Santino because I think he might be in line for a feud with somebody like Otunga, a more serious feud, or either that, or he's just right now he's kind of on a roll.
Santino is funking on a roll, I thought. Wasn't that going to be a tag team at one point, do you think?
Maybe. But I kind of doubt it.
I'm going to say Santino for the win. And he's probably going to get the Cobra and win it.
Yeah, Santino, pinfall, no interference.
Buffer?
I don't really care who wins the match or anything, but I did think it was strange how somebody who hasn't even been on Raw for the past few weeks just gets a United States title shot for no apparent reason. But I'm pulling for Miz. I just don't really care who wins.
And I think that's what the majority of us feel about this, except for the Miz being shoved all the way down the card. Yeah. What a joke. Next match we're going to talk about is Big Show versus Cody Rhodes, the return match. We're not sure what the stipulation is going to be, but it's for the Intercontinental Championship. How about this nothing feud so far?
I really hope Cody gets that Intercontinental title back in a decisive win. Big Show doesn't need that title at all. He's already as over as he's going to get. I think giving it back to Cody and letting him run with it some more would be a good thing for him.
I'm going to have to actually disagree and say that I hope Big Show wins, because if Big Show wins, then Cody can actually accelerate to the main event scene and feud with Sheamus, assuming that Daniel Bryan does something else.
He's not.
Personally, I want to see Cody get the belt back because it currently looks best on him, and plus, I really don't think the WWE is going to push Cody anywhere since they seem to have all the other titles occupied at the moment. And even after this pay-per-view, it's still probably going to be the same as it is right now.
Okay, so pinfall, who's going to win?
Pinfall, Cody. No maybe interference.
God, now you sound like Omega.
By who?
Kali.
Oh. Okay,
No.
I can see that. What do you think, Angum?
Cody, pinfall, No interference. I think it's going to be the beautiful disaster kick that gets him the win.
Omega, Big Show, Cody. Who do you think is going to win?
It's actually kind of hard to say because, Cody, it seemed like Cody was on a roll, but then Show won the title, and I don't necessarily think they're going to hot potato with it, but I'm just going to say Big Show retains. It kind of depends on what stipulation they have as well. Unless it's something that Big Show can kind of get screwed in. Like if it's, I don't know, if it's like last man standing and Show falls over and Cody puts something on him, or I don't know.
That would be awesome. Book that. Cody knocks him down and parks a forklift on top of Big Show and wins. Can I change my answer to that?
Sure, for it. I'm going to say Big Show, no interference, pinfall, retains the title. No reason for Cody to really win it back, in my opinion. Next match, unless Buffer Taker's opinion.
Quickly, yeah. I think Big Show's had his fat guy moment, when he had the title and he had his WrestleMania moment, but now he's just starting to piss people off, and I don't believe that Cody should have to lose to move on to the main event. I know he has to drop the title, but still he can do that in a much better way. But I think he should win, but I think Big Show will probably fucking squash him.
I could see the argument here where, Cody would win because Big Show's already had his moment and it's over, and then Big Show and Khali go chase the tag titles or something.
Here's an idea, right? Fucking Carlito, when he debuted, came out and took the title off John Cena. Why can't they build a rookie and do it that way? Get the title off Cody Rhodes rather than someone who was like 40-year-old, a giant, and has no heat.
I could see that happening. Next match, Randy Orton versus Kane, Falls Count Anywhere. We're going to cut this discussion short because it's Randy Orton versus Kane. What do you guys think? Pinfall, submission, etc.
Orton wins.
Orton wins, pinfall.
Probably Orton wins. Probably.
This is just a do-over of the WrestleMania, so Orton can win.
I'd have to agree. Orton wins clean. All right. Next match, Punk, Jericho, Chicago Street Fight for the WWE Championship.
Obviously, Punk wins because Jericho has to go to war with Fozzy.
Punk wins because Punk's in Chicago. I completely expect a Colt Cabana cameo. Not involved in the match, you just somewhere in the crowd.
Punk wins after smashing a bottle over Jericho's head.
Yeah, I don't really see how Jericho actually wins unless something major happens. But the whole thing, this whole feud has been really kind of bizarre. Hopefully we get a good match, even a great match. But I don't know. I just don't have the fire for it that I should.
I'd like to add something.
Go first.
Midway through the match, CM Punk force feeds Diet Pepsi down Jericho's throat.
Very quickly, my God, last week I was quite interested in the feud, and then this week with the whole, Jericho makes Punk walk a line and say the alphabet backwards. Did WWE not understand there's such things as fucking cameras where they can see the promos backstage and shit? It didn't make logical sense. It was just lol, WWE retarded. And CM Punk kind of botched the promo when he did actually botch the alphabet backwards, when you can't blame him, but still.
This feud is like... go ahead.
He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He was going to fuck up saying the alphabet backwards. I mean, God, I can't say the alphabet backwards. Not without really thinking about it.
That part was kind of a little bit obvious, but this feud is like if Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, during their feud, leading up to WrestleMania, was like Michaels pointing at Taker and saying, "You're not really dead." I mean, really, if that's what their feud was based on, this is like what this is.
Chris Jericho is a 10-year-old little boy. That's what we think about this. Now we have Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan, 2 out of 3 falls match. This should be long and interesting. What do you guys think? Give me your falls. Give me what happens in each fall, and who's gonna win.
Bryan takes first fall, probably pinfall somehow, beats the shit out of him or something. Second one, Sheamus gets it with the brogue kick and then the Celtic Cross, and then Bryan pulls the yes lock out at the last minute and wins for the title.
I'm going to say that Bryan pulls Sheamus in the first fall and pins Sheamus within the first 20 to 30 seconds of the match. Sheamus gets the bro kick for the second fall, and then for the final fall, we get the yes lock where even after the match is over, Bryan refuses to let go.
Sheamus wins the first in 18 seconds. Sheamus wins the second in 18 seconds, and then just for good measure, they give him a third fall, and Sheamus wins the third in 18 seconds. Troll harder.
Sheamus wins the first fall in 18 seconds with the bro kick. Daniel Bryan wins the next fall with a submission. The third fall is going to be another pinfall by Sheamus, and Sheamus retains, much to the rage of the rest of Woo. All right, so we only have a minute left here. We need Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. Man, we could have gone longer with this. Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. What do you guys think? Who's going to win?
Cena. Awesome feud, by the way. Much better than Cena versus Rock, and they only had a month. Awesome feud.
I think, first of all, I think Sheamus is probably going to. Well, no, I'm going to say Bryan, but
wait, what?
I think it's going to be a non-finish.
I agree. It's an Extreme Rules match, but there's still going to be a non-finish.
Something's going to happen so that Cena is completely destroyed, and he didn't quit, he didn't give up, he didn't get pinned, but it's like it. I think it was Backlash that one time or Judgment Day, he got thrown through the. Remember when Big Show threw him through the floodlight?
Yes.
Something like that.
Gigawatt floodlight.
Yep.
Well,
all right, so
the kind of thing that Cena usually does to somebody else, like even as recently as February when he attitude adjusted Kane onto the ambulance, something like that. But only Cena's the one getting it this time.
All right, so that was our 15-minute time limit. Sadly, we can't extend our time this week. However, we are going to pass it over to Yankum DDS, and he is going to give us our third segment this week.
It's time for Toss Up, motherfuckers. I'm going to give a topic to Gunner and Omega, and they will have to argue either way on the topic I give them. I will assign a side of the argument each. This week, Omega BR will be arguing that Nikki Bella should not be the Divas Champion, and Gunner will be arguing that Nikki Bella should be the Divas Champion. So we'll begin with Omega BR. You have 5 minutes, starting now.
Well, I think Nikki Bella should not be the Divas Champion because it's already been done, hasn't it? I mean, when Brie was technically the champion, really they both were, and it didn't necessarily work out. There was nothing remarkable about their title reign. It was really sort of a transitional reign. They didn't really do anything of note. Feuding with, I think, Kelly and perhaps Alicia Fox at one point, and we go through these cycles where the divas just simply kind of feud with each other. No real emotional investment. No stronger, deeper meaning behind it. They just trot out there and they tussle around. They get in their usual spots. The stink face and the perhaps some twin magic, which again, just because Nikki's champion, technically the champion, and her name will be on the plate if they even have a name plate anymore, doesn't necessarily mean that anything will be different. I think we're probably in for another few months of. Now, granted, Beth, we heard that Beth's injury was a work. However, they have to sell that work, and in order to do so, she'll probably be out for a few weeks, if not months. And that's when you'll see, we barely have Divas matches anyway on the show. It's like twice a month now, so no real consequence, no real circumstance. Nikki parading around with her sister with the title. There's also the fact, that in about 7 days, they're supposedly going to be gone, remember? Maybe they signed a contract extension. Maybe the title was a way to get them to stay, though I don't know why. They're not necessarily a huge asset. Sure, the whole twin thing is neat and everything, but you kind of get over it after, a week or two. Nikki... and that's the other thing, too. I think most people typically agreed that Brie seems to be the more athletic, the more powerful of the two. Brie, if you remember when they debuted, Brie was actually by herself for several weeks before they kind of let on that Nikki was. I mean, even though all of us knew that was the whole trick, that Nikki was hiding under the ring and everything. But ultimately, I think what it comes down to is you got Beth. For whatever reason, it's nice to have a change of scenery, but not if you're going from the BP to the Exxon down the street. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not all that different. It's not all that. You're not really actually changing much, and there's really no point to it. I would have much rather seen Beth keep the title and not was doing a whole lot either, but at least she is definitely the most credible woman that they have on the roster, at least if you don't factor in Karma. And I think that's probably what they should be building toward is Beth versus Karma, and they can even build it towards SummerSlam since they couldn't do it at WrestleMania. And even if they're transitioning the title to Karma from Nikki, I think they probably could have picked a better diva, particularly not somebody who is supposedly on the way out. There are other heel divas that they can heck, even have a mini feud with Beth and Natalya before they do Beth and Karma, which is what they really want to do. Natalya is on the show enough. Everybody, I think Natalya has a bit more notability than Nikki, or even, as much as I hate to say it, even though she's in this administrative role and everything, have Eve kind of fandangle herself, and that really would have been nice if Eve, using her new administrative powers, would have fandangled the title onto her own waist, and then she could have feuded with Karma or whoever, and then you can kind of transition into a feud with the Beth Karma feud or whatever you want to do. So obviously Nikki was not the best choice, and she should not be the Divas champion. And hopefully we'll wish her the best in her future endeavors soon enough.
And that's time. Wow. I gotta tell you, that is pretty impressive that you managed to stop exactly on your 5-minute time limit. Gunnar, it is now your turn. You will argue in favor of Nikki Bella holding the Divas Championship, and your time will begin now.
Well, let me tell you something. This Divas Championship thing, let me tell you something about that. There are a couple reasons why Nikki Bella should have won the belt last night on Raw. Number one, it's a process of elimination. If you look at the Divas roster right now, you have to realize the difference between a WWE diva and the amorphous blob that is the 8 or 10 divas that have been parading around for the past 2 or 3 years. The same core group of girls who, the Bella Twins included, that are, that have passed around that title like the clap around the locker room. Now, if you look at that roster, if you look at that side of things, you see, the likes of Caitlyn and AJ. Not ready yet, brother. Sorry. So you can't exactly put it on those two. You see Maxine, who's on NXT. You see Oksana, was doing Teddy Long every week, but thank God those segments ended, and she's nowhere to be near this title. You have Natalya, but apparently the drug test came back, and the farts are caused by anabolic steroids or something. So you have to rule her out, sadly, much to the chagrin. Of course, that's a lie, but I really can't explain why Natalya isn't in this mix, other than the fact that she's a face. You have Kelly, who's also a face and completely vacant. I probably could see through her at some point or another. You have, let's see here, you have Eve, who's currently stuck in the Stephanie McMahon role, which I totally expect to see have the Divas Championship at some point or another and have somebody lay down or they get fired. What would really be funny is if at Extreme Rules you had a match for the Divas Championship and it was, one of the Bella Twins against somebody else, and Eve came down and says, I'm going to fire you if you don't lay down. And they lay down. And then Eve's like, just kidding. You're fired. And, Eve turns into the Hosky of the century. And so then you have the Bella Twins. I mean, of course, there's Alicia Fox, but, face again. I don't think there's anybody really I'm forgetting. There probably is, but that's exactly the amorphous blob that I'm talking about here. So you have Rosa Mendez, but she's off managing the tag team championships and bitching in Spanish. So you have the Bella Twins. Now, you can't give it to Brie because A, she's dating Daniel Bryan, and B, she's already had it. So the only person left in that roster that can hold on to that title is Nikki Bella. And the reason for this isn't the fact that she's going to get arrayed in before they leave. It's because at Extreme Rules, you were going to see the debut of Karma, the re-debut of Karma, and the 1 minute squash that is going to be Karma giving her a tent buster and taking the Divas title until Bethy gets better, and those two can feud all the way to the summer. Or you could potentially see Layla come back. You see, because Layla and Beth and Karma are the three girls in that locker room that aren't a part of the Amorphous Blob. Why? Because they're different. Because they're good. Because Layla's been out for a year. Because she was attached to Lay Cool, one of the best women's tag teams to ever come along. Right up there with, Trish and Lita and that stuff. And then there's, Karma, who's obviously a beast, and we've been waiting for her to debut. She probably will, and I wouldn't be surprised. And Beth just lost the title. And you can't have Karma kill Beth at the pay-per-view, because there's no build. You can't have Layla come back and beat Beth, because you lose out on money there too. So I expect this year to see those three, just like it was back in 2008 with TNA, those three to be going at it like nobody's business. Is it pertinent? You see, because Nikki, to get back to the point, Nikki is the sacrificial lamb. She's doing what she needs to do.
Your time is up.
Look at that.
I'm going to go ahead and tally up the scores here. Carry the 1, multiply 5, 6 and 9 plus 3. Omega has scored a respectable 52 points, and Gunner's score is negative 500,000. He took a hit there. He suggested that putting the Divas title on Eve would be good, but you can't put the Divas title on anyone who has a penis. So Omega
Eric
wins
Young
this week.
And you wonder why I don't win every week. I get the worst physicians. God. One day, Omega. One day. Soon.
So moving right along, we're going to go right to Would You Rather. My favorite game. Last time I managed to make Omega VR very, very uncomfortable. This time I'll try not to do that. Some of these are not so raunchy. So we'll go ahead and start off, and of course, Buffer Taker and Vassar will be taking part in this one. So the first one, we'll start off easy. Omega BR, would you rather have the Abe Knuckleball Schwartz gimmick or be the Gobbledygooker?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Would you rather have the Abe Knuckleball Schwartz gimmick or be the Gobbledygooker?
Probably Booker, because it just seems more fun. It's more of a... Plus, it doesn't seem like a lot of work, quite frankly, because it's not like you're wrestling any matches. You're just kind of dancing around like a mascot.
All right, and Gunner.
What was the first option?
Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
I'll take the first option. I'll be the gobbledygooker. Gobble gobble, motherfucker.
Nobody wants to be the Brooklyn Brawler. What's up with that? Vassar, Abe Knuckleball Schwartz or the Gobbledygooker?
I'll take Schwartz.
Thank you. Finally. God, I was starting to think there was some kind of anti-Semitism going on in here. Buffer Taker.
Can anyone remind me what that Schwartz gimmick is? Because I've never heard of it in my entire life.
It's the guy with his face painted like a baseball.
That still rings bells.
Played by the Brooklyn Brawler.
It was back in like '95, and I think the MLB was actually... It was either on strike or something was going on.
I thought it was some Nazi gimmick or something. I thought it was like the Heidenreich rejected Nazi gimmick you were talking about. But no, I think the Schwartz one definitely seems a lot more.
Well, honestly, the only reason you'd want to be Schwartz is during something like that when you can really play it up.
Well, I'd rather be able to play a character than just be a dude in a suit, really, and I can be replaced easily.
So you wouldn't want to be David Otunga?
No, yeah. Well, I just wouldn't want to be fucking Luger. Wait and get replaced for anything.
All right, on to the next one before we get way off topic again here. Omega BR, would you rather have Vince Russo book the events of your life or have the Big Show jump up and down on your balls?
Well, the last question catered to one of my fetishes quite well. This one, not so much. So I think I'll go with Russo because at least things would be interesting. Kind of stupid, but at least interesting. I wouldn't be bored. I might get tired of it, but I wouldn't be bored.
Gunner, which would you rather have?
What's the duration of these two things? Is this a permanent
forever.
Sort of thing? Is this like forever?
Vince Russo books the entire rest of your life, or once a week, Big Show comes over and jumps up and down on your balls for an hour?
I'll take Vince Russo, please, because I know that every single significant point of my life will end in a pole match where there will be 7 swerves and people will interfere. Imagine trying to get to the altar and having a ring on a pole match where your best friend is trying to screw you while he tries to screw your wife.
Vassar.
I can imagine both of them would be nothing but pain, but after the first session with Big Show, they'd be gone and I would kill myself, so Big Show.
And finally, Buffer Taker.
The Big Show one's really not that bad, but not that I'm saying I would like it or anything. I'm just saying, digging myself a hole here. Anyway, I'd probably take the Russo one just because that'd be interesting as fuck. The funeral alone would be worth it.
Except that she wouldn't be there to enjoy it.
But what a way to go out with, though.
It would probably end with a funeral, fucking hellhounds
Buried alive match.
Buried alive match, where the hellhounds are played by standard poodles who do nothing but shit and fuck all throughout your funeral. Omega BR, the next one, would you rather listen to an endless loop of McGillicuddy's Genesis promo or get punched by a still alive and in his prime Andre the Giant in the face?
I'm going to say Andre because then I could sue him and get some of that sweet alcohol money.
That's assuming you're still alive. Gunner, punched in the face by a still alive and in his prime Andre the Giant, or listen to an endless loop of McGillicuddy's Genesis promo?
I will. Eventually I could tune out the Genesis promo. I think I'd. Andre. I would take Andre just because I'm such a giant Andre mark.
I suppose it would be worth it to have permanent brain damage and only be able to eat through a tube. Vassar.
Andre, because I would shrink with him before, so I wouldn't feel as much pain.
Yeah. Permanent vegetative state. But for David.
Andre, man, definitely, but I don't think big fists necessarily mean they're the hardest. I mean, there's this boxer called Nikolai Valuev, and he punched like another faggot, so I'd definitely take the Andre option.
Say that to his face, fucker, and not online, and see what happens.
What happens? All right, the next one, we got 5 minutes left here, so we'll try and run through it quick. You can either, would you rather teach Kelly how to properly run the ropes and not be able to leave until she can do it perfectly every single time, or eat a Sean Waltman shit sandwich? Omega VR.
Well, the first option, clearly. Because, who wouldn't want to be in the ring with Kelly even for years at a time?
People who don't want to get botched on and die. Gunner!
After about the first couple of times, I break her back, I make her humble, I fuck her in the ass. Fucking bullshit.
Vassar.
The first option.
You guys are
Because,
still predictable.
well, if she watches well enough, I might be able to take advantage of that.
And you're promoted. But for David.
What was the first choice again?
You can either teach Kelly how to properly run the ropes, and you're not allowed to ever leave until she can do it perfectly every single time, or you can eat a Sean Waltman shit sandwich.
Well, the latter will probably kill me, so I'd definitely
It
go with
didn't
the first
kill
one.
Mark Henry.
Yeah,
Mark
but
Henry's fine.
isn't there some kind of thing about eating shit sandwiches where your body can't digest it?
Well, your body can't digest corn either.
Well, I'd definitely take the first option anyway. I don't know why anyone would take the second option.
I think the first option is actually the seventh wing of hell, reserved for bad booking. The next one here is would you rather have the only video you're allowed to see for the rest of your life, and that includes television, internet, DVD, anything. The only thing you're allowed to watch is either the final year of WCW or Mr. Nanny. See, I did there was a callback to earlier. I'm going to be
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What?
the only video you're allowed to watch for the rest of your life, that includes television, internet, DVD, DVR, like everything. The only thing you're allowed to watch is either the final year of WCW or Mr. Nanny.
Oh, WCW for sure, because, it's fun to look back and laugh about it and see all the goofy things that were going on. Plus, I think that was the year that Leia Meow was present and prevalent, and who wouldn't want to see her again?
Gunnar?
I'll take the last year of WCW just to avoid Mr. Nanny.
Wow, you guys are gluttons for punishment. Bubba King,
I don't have a fucking clue what Mr. Nanny is.
It's a Hogan movie. It's the one with Sherman Helmsley. You know, the guy from, oh god, what was that TV show in the 70s? Gunnar?
I don't fucking know.
It was the spin-off to All in the Family.
I've never heard of Mr. Nanny in my life. I've never seen the cover, I've never watched the movie, but as soon as you said Mr. Nanny, I thought of Hulk Hogan, and I shouldn't have, but I did. So either way, I'm going to get some Hulk Hogan in my life for the rest of my life, but I'd probably take the final year of WCW, because I have no interest in Mr. Nanny.
Alright, well,
Hey.
our final one here, we're going to try and run through this one real quick, because we're running low on time for the third segment. So finally, Omega VR, would you rather make love to Eve Torres or Vince McMahon?
Probably Vince, because I think I could probably keep up the pace better, and it wouldn't be quite as painful on the rear.
Gunner.
Vince McMahon. It's always been a fantasy of mine to be a sex slave
Don't do it.
to two McMahons. One man,
Well, I
one
think in that
female.
case you just want both of them.
Wow. Vassar.
Oh God. I'm gonna have to say Eve because at least she looks better.
And finally, Dr. Digger.
I would like to pick Vince just to hear him say, "I'm Vince McMahon, damn it, now put it in my ass." But I would definitely pick Eve because I fucking leave. I'm a mark for Eve. She is awesome, especially on the mic.
And as we run out of time, I'm going to go ahead and say Vince McMahon because I think he would actually hold me after. So on that note, it's time to move it on back to Gunner and into segment 4, the Dairy Queen Drive-Thru.
So I got a question for you right before we move on. So if Vince McMahon, if you ask Vince McMahon if you could potentially do things to his ass, what do you think he'd say? You have notes in hell. Moving along here, Dairy Queen Drive-Thru, Vassar, give us some ratings.
And now it's time for the ratings. The 419 edition of TNA Impact Wrestling scored a 0.97 rating with 1.31 million viewers. Last week's show posted the show the week before posted a 0.98 rating. The 420 edition of SmackDown on Sci-Fi drew a 1.80 cable rating with 2.73 million viewers. And finally, Raw. The April 23rd 3-hour edition of Monday Night Raw drew a 3.0 cable rating, averaging 4.39 million viewers. The show averaged 4.75 million viewers in its normal 2-hour time slot with a 3.3 rating. The show did hours of 2.48, 3.22, and 3.41.
All right, and now we're going to go to Buffer Taker with some birthdays.
I need to Hulk Hogan it up 2 seconds.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Well, you know something, brothers? We've got lots of birthdays for all the Hulkamaniacs out there, Jack. So let's read out the list of who's ready, Jack. What month is this, by the way? Is this April, mate?
Yes, this is April.
I have
Don't
no
break
fucking
character.
clue where I am. Sorry, brother, I forgot the date. Anyway, brother, on the 18th of April, we got Universo 2000, brother. 19th is El Samurai, and Roxy Lavu, and Wonder Kid, Johnny Storm, brother. And on 20th, oh, you better believe he's ready, dude. It's Garrett Bishop, brother. And Johnny the Bull Bally, brother. Bruce the Barber, Keep Beef, brother. Then on April 22nd, brother, we got Holland Bravado, Electroshock, brother. Ezekiel Jackson, brother. Jay Lethal, Jack, brother. Chuck Taylor, dude. And on the 23rd, oh Lord Almighty, we got Tony Atlas, brother. We got that dude that's just never going to be ready, brother. That John Cena, brother. And we got 24th, we got Die Hard Dustin Lee, brother. And we got Eugene Nagata. Brother, give me the title, Jack, brother, dude.
All right, and with that, your weekly dose of Brother Jack Dude, it's time now for This Week in Wrestling with Omega BR.
Yes, this week in wrestling history, over 100 years ago, circa 1895, Martin Farmer Burns defeats Evan Strangler Lewis for the American heavyweight title in the second city, Chicago, Illinois. Jump to 1982, where AWA President Stanley Blackburn announced that April 18th, 1982, Hulk Hogan AWA World Title win over Nick Bockwinkel in St. Paul, Minnesota would be stricken from the record books. During the match, Bockwinkel's manager, Bobby Heenan, hit Hogan with a foreign object. When he attempted to throw it to Bockwinkel a second time, Hogan caught it and used it himself to set up the win. Because of this, Hogan was never officially recognized or considered the AWA champion. And in 1989, New Japan Pro Wrestling held their first ever Tokyo Dome event titled Superpowers Clash, drawing a 44,000 fan gate for a show that featured a tournament for the IWGP title, the participation of Russian wrestlers and martial artists. Lou Thez was brought in as a special referee for several matches. In his debut with the light gimmick, Jushin Thunder Liger defeated Gunaki Kobayashi. Big Van Vader defeated Shinya Hashimoto to win the International World Grand Prix title tournament with Lou Thez as special referee in the main event, and that would begin a legacy of stellar events for New Japan in the historic Tokyo Dome. And that was this week in wrestling history.
All right, and now we're going to do some happy trails. Happy trails. According to sources, WWE has released Tough Enough winner Andy Levine. Levine had been working in WWE developmental as Kevin Hackman. Levine won the return season of Tough Enough in April 2011, but had been a part of the WWE developmental system prior to the show. Levine was seen in vignettes about his training to become a WWE star and was never utilized again on the main roster. He was also suspended one time under the WWE's wellness policy. DeMott commented on this, saying, oh, look at the Daniel Pewter here. And, Silent Rage goes silently into the night. And happy trails to Tyler.
I could be wrong here. But I'm pretty sure that's Levine.
Whatever. Happy trails to Tyler Rex and Kurt Hawkins. They were backstage last night at Raw Super Show from Detroit, Michigan, but failed to get hashtags Save Rex and Hawkins trending worldwide on Twitter. John Laurinaitis previously told the duo if they could get the hashtag to trend during Raw, their jobs would be safe after William Regal fired them on NXT last week. Rex and Hawkins tried hard to get the term trending worldwide, but couldn't. But they did manage to get it trend in the UK, number 2, trended in Australia, multiple US states, but not worldwide. And apparently that was what was needed. Rex posted, "Thanks for trying, faithful fans. It's been a good run, especially with Hawkins, but it's officially over. Twitter still won't let me post, Brother Jack Dude, so spread the word. Much love to everyone who supported us. Signing off for a while and going home to see my family on Wednesday. T-Rex." Kurt Hawkins and Tyler Rex being a part of the releases. I completely and totally expect to be more happy trails next week as we do a super pack, and I hear the brooms, I see all the cleaner on the floor, and we're going to get some future endeavors coming up real soon. All right, so with that being said, we have match suggestions to watch. Buffer Taker, what should we watch this week from wrestling?
First of all, quick promotion to SingTube/Dr. House. If you're listening to this, doesn't matter what time it is, that SingTube will be running right now. Check WoO if you're on there. But you should definitely watch Shockwave the Robot versus Mech the Mummy.
All right, and Vassar, what else should we watch?
Oh god, I never been thinking these beforehand, but it's been a match they have shown on that tube a couple times. It's the old Shane McMahon versus Kurt Angle.
That's a good match. Yeah, a lot of people should watch that. Yankum, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
I don't know. Big Deal and Fake Razor versus, what was it, the Godwins?
Omega BR.
Well, considering Lesnar's back, he's about to have his first pro wrestling match in several years. How about a match of a heyday for Lesnar? That was Lesnar versus The Rock at, I believe, SummerSlam 2002, which kind of showcased get that big match feel.
And I am going to recommend the match. I'm actually going to recommend Chris Jericho versus Kofi Kingston from Raw this week. Because out of the wrestling of this week, that was pretty cool. All right. So with that being said, thank you very much for listening. This has been Woo Gets Us number 36. I am Gunner. That is Omega. Our wonderful sound producer, Yankum DDS. I'd like to thank Vassar and Buffer Taker for chilling out with us this week. Guests, Nat Jester for listening, and hello, Sarah J. Fan. So check us out on Wookie.org. That's WOOOKIE.org. You can like us on Facebook, Smark Snark. Facebook.com/Smark Snark. You can also follow us on Twitter, which Yankum and I post on for Raw and the pay-per-views. Usually, and we might catch TNA or something, or SmackDown on a random